guys, it's me Chiku from Chiku Study Corner, and today we'll be dealing with the chapter 13 of Biology Class 12th CBSE, which is that chapter that is Organisms and Population. So, without any further ado, let's get into the chapter. So, over here, first thing that we have to learn is about the term ecology. What is ecology? Ecology is a branch of science that deals with the relationship between an organism and its environment. It is there in different phases. There are so many different kinds of organisms and their surroundings. So, we learn about all of them. So first, we'll write the small definition of ecology. So, branch of science that studies the relationship between organism and its environment. So, I told you ecology is in different levels. That is from population to community, then the biosphere, ecosphere, etc. So, we learn about all of them right now. Now, let's see the path. Before that, let's compare this path to what we learned in our own body structures. For our own body structures, what did we learn? We learned that what cells form tissues, tissues form organs form organ system, organ system forms the organism. Isn't it what we learned in the case of our human body? Isn't this the path? The same way we have a path for learning about ecology. So let's see what is that. First, for for an environment or for some biome or something, what is required? You need organisms. So beginning with organisms. When so many organisms comes together, what happens? They form a population. So, population. Then after population, community. And what's after community? It forms the biome. Okay? When the organisms form a population, different population of different organisms give rise to community. And these communities together with the surroundings form the biome. So let's see the definitions for organisms, population, biome and community. So, let's see. Organism. What is organism? Organism is each individual of a species. Okay? So what is that? Each individual of a species is termed as organisms. Then what is the next level? That is population. And what is population? Population is the same kind of organisms that comes together and which can interbreed. So, many organisms comes together and what happens? There's a condition. Like not every organisms, there are only organisms that can interbreed. So, condition. What is the condition? I put a star for the condition. Condition is interbreed. Okay, so that is population. After population, what is that? Community. community is many population coming together. So, many population coming together. And now, what is the last one? That is biome. So, what is biome? Biome is the large flora or fauna in a specific climatic zone. The large spread, okay, it's a large, it's not small as organism, it's not small as population, nor as community. It is a larger one. A larger one where what happens, the flora and fauna of a specific or of a correct or particular what climatic zone. Large fauna and flora of a specific climatic zone. So these are the definitions. The first one is organisms. What is organism? Each individual of a species is termed as organisms, and many organisms coming together which can interbreed between them is known as population, and many population coming together is known as community. And the last point is biome. Biome is what? The large flora and fauna of a particular or a specific climatic zone. Okay? So to talk about biomes, there are different biomes in our earth. So what all are those? We'll list out some examples. So the first example is tropical rainforest biome, then desert biome, then what else do we know? Ocean or sea biome, sea coast biome. Deciduous forest biome. And so on. So these four are examples that you have to learn. What all are they? Tropical rainforest biome, desert biome, sea coast biome, deciduous forest biome. So all these biomes have different flora and fauna. In deserts you can't see what plants that grow in tropical rainforest because there is plenty of water, whereas in deserts there is lack of water or no water. Okay? And sea coast is different from deciduous forest, etc. So these are the different types of biomes. So once again we discussed the definition of biome. What was that? It's a large unit of flora and fauna in a particular either climatic zone or temperature zones. See, these all are having different climates. So that is the definition and examples for biome. Next we will be discussing about the factors. What factors? Factors affecting the distributions of organisms and population across the world. So there are two factors, two classifications of factors, biotic and abiotic. So first we will discuss about abiotic factors. So this is what? Abiotic. The first and the major factor is temperature. So what is temperature? That is the heat or coldness. Okay? Temperature, when we always say temperature, we always associate temperature with heat. Heat being released. It's not about something that's hot. Why isn't temperature be cool? Because you say it's 0 degree Celsius, that's also temperature. There is 5 degrees Celsius, that's also temperature. So, what is temperature? Temperature is the, the amount of heatness or coldness. Okay? So, temperature, as we all know, temperature is very important. We use heaters when it's cold, when we use ACs when it's hot. Why is that? Because to adjust the temperature. Okay? So, as we all know that when we move from this is the earth and this is the equator. When you move from the equator to the poles, what happens? The temperature decreases. We know the pole regions are what? They have iceland. Okay? They have icebergs on water. There is Eskimos staying over there. So, what is that? In these two ends of our earth, it's so cold. Whereas towards the equator, it is an average temperature. So the average temperature change decreases as moving from what equator to pole. So the next point is, in polar regions, the temperature is sub-zero levels, whereas, and also when you move to higher altitude, it's colder. In case you go to any higher altitude, you find it's more colder. When you go to Munnar, it's cold. So that's because it's a higher altitude. As altitude increases, what happens? The temperature becomes lesser. And also what? The polar regions also have sub-zero levels of temperatures. So now next one is in tropical deserts. So in summer, in tropical deserts, the temperature shoots up to what? 50 degrees Celsius. So that is to talk about what is the temperature change in polar regions, equatorial regions, deserts, etc. So next, to talk about the temperature, there are two kinds of organisms that comes under what? Organisms that can adjust to various temperatures. There are two of them. First one is eurythermal. Second one is stenothermal. So what is the difference between eurythermal and stenothermal? For eurythermal, they can adapt or they can adjust to a wide range of temperatures. Like for us, we can move from maybe from a hotter place to a colder place, we can go to desert, we can go to poles, etc. But whereas for stenothermal organisms, what happens is they have a lower temperature adjustment, and what happens, they live, they move to an other climatic zone. So which is the more organisms that can survive in extreme conditions? That is bacteria. There are lots of microbes that lives in extreme conditions where no life can be possible. So that is to talk about eurythermal and stenothermal organisms. That is a classification of temperature adjustments. The next abiotic factor that we have to learn is what? Water. So water is very, very important, because you can survive without food for days or weeks or months, but without water, it's hard for your life to be sustained, because our body has 70% water, and if you lose the water in your body, you will feel dehydrated, you feel bad, you feel sick, might even lead to your death also. So water is an important source, and it is an abiotic factor. So in deserts, I told you before, in deserts, what is that? There's low amount of water, because in summer it's 50 degrees Celsius and water gets evaporated first, and there's less rainfall in desert regions. Okay? And then, what is that? I told you the first point. The second point is distribution and productivity of plants is very, very dependent on the supply of water. So, water is important not only for us, for all organisms, even plants, even animals, us, everything. Okay? So, the productivity and distribution of plants depends on what? The water supply. And the last point is these aquatic organisms. What happens to these aquatic organisms? They require conditions to live. So, what are the conditions? They need proper pH, and composition of water is very, very important, because they cannot adjust with different ranges of pH and composition. So, according to the requirement of water, or the conditions of water, it is divided into two types. So, we know what is salinity. Salinity is the amount of salt present in the water. So, based on salinity, we have two classifications. What is that? Euryhaline and stenohaline. So, what is euryhaline? Euryhaline, they have a wide range of adaptations to saline water. They can adjust to a larger range of salinity. Whereas stenohaline, what happens? They have a narrow range. So, we write larger range, and over here narrow range. Okay, so let's take the condition. There is some organisms or there's some fishes or any aquatic animals in sea. Take the condition. From sea, we are moving the organisms towards lake or backwaters or anything. So when you move this to the lake, they might not survive, because, or vice versa, if you take one from the lake and put in the sea, what happens is they cannot survive. Because if you keep it for 2-3 minutes or maybe for half an hour, it might not be dead, but if you keep it for so long, it cannot survive. Because the adaptations of each organism is different, because the osmotic conditions are different in sea as well as in lake. So what is the difference? This is more saline and this is less saline or not saline. Okay? So that is to talk about the second factor, water. There are two more of these abiotic factors that we have to learn, that is light and soil. We'll be discussing about that too in our next video. So friends, that's all for today's session. I hope you might have understood it and liked it. If you have understood it and liked it, please give my video a huge thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you're new to it. And share my videos with your other friends. So see you on the next part of this chapter. Till then, bye-bye.